Okay, hey! Today I wanted to make a video about my diet. I don't like the word diet because diet sounds like you're like, it's temporary. But when I say diet, just mean that I know... What? Know that I mean my entire palate. Everything that I eat, my diet is in like... A turtle's diet, you would feed it lettuce and turtle food, but I don't know what you feed turtles. I guess it depends on the species. Anyways, I just wanted to talk about it today because if you know me and follow me on Twitter, you know that I am pretty much a foodie. I love food and I wanted to share with you guys what I do and what I eat to make me feel like I'm eating the best that I can and make me feel the best, because to be honest, that is what is most important when it comes to this stuff. This video is going to be what I eat. This is not me telling you what you should eat. This is all what I have learned and what I want to eat personally, so please don't take this as it's what you must eat to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Also, another disclaimer is this video has nothing to do with your size. It does not have to do with your weight. This is not about that. What matters is if you're being healthy about it. So I guess I could start from the beginning. A year ago, last summer, or like springtime summer, I started eating well, kind of looked into calories. I don't really remember. I just know that I watched sugar, which I wasn't even really watching sugar. I was just trying not to eat candy and really high sugar things, and I was running at the same time. So every other day I would run. I have a treadmill in my house and I would just run for like between 30 to 60 minutes every other day. And because of that, after a while I lost a lot of weight. Not a lot of weight, but between like 10 to 15 to 20 pounds. I don't really know exactly, but I know that I lost weight. And I've never been overweight or heavy or anything like that. I've always just been like, I can lose weight without being underweight. It was more like me just trying to be healthier, that kind of thing. Fast forward to VidCon, and where there's nothing really healthy to eat, and I wasn't working out, and I kind of just spiraled downhill to there. Then I tried in between a couple times getting back on track, but I never really did. But I did start getting really insecure and it was kind of bad. And I guess one day I kind of just snapped. I was like, if I'm gonna sit here and hate myself, why don't I actually try and do something about it? Like, it shouldn't be that big of an issue. I should just try and do something about it instead of complaining about it and not making any progress or doing anything to make the progress. And that's when I started running again and I started eating better and I tried to eat clean. I went through all these different phases of different diets to use like that. I would just avoid a lot of stuff, and I actually ended up giving up running pretty quickly because I started doing circuits, which I preferred a lot more than running. I didn't really like running, but I still felt like I was working out, so I was doing those. And I wasn't really doing them correctly, but I was working out in a sense at my house. Like, I wasn't paleo, I wasn't vegetarian or vegan, I wasn't anything like certain. I just avoided things across the board. In the beginning, my face started breaking out really bad, and I was so confused why, because every day I was eating like stir-fried vegetables and quinoa. Like, I wasn't eating anything bad, I wasn't eating a ton of processed sugar, and I didn't understand why until later on I found out that fat can actually break out your face. I was frying all of my vegetables in coconut oil, and although it is a really healthy fat, it was definitely making my face go crazy. It didn't matter that it was a healthy fat, it mattered the fact that it was a lot of fat for me to be taking in every day, and I just, yeah, kind of gave up on that. I went through a phase where I couldn't really find exactly what I liked to eat. I felt like I was restricting myself all the time, and it just wasn't very good. And then finally a lot of things happened where I started eating predominantly vegan. I didn't really ever make meat for myself usually, and then if I did eat meat, it would be when my parents made it or we went out to dinner or something like that. Gave up dairy and eggs because of the hormones that can also cause my face to break out. A little side note, my face is very acne prone and it could be so much worse, and I don't even think you can tell in my videos because the lighting is like really good and I just have a nice camera. But if I'm not careful, my face is really sensitive and it can break out, and I know that food doesn't affect everyone's face. Some people have acne no matter what they eat, and some people don't have any acne no matter what they eat, so it really doesn't matter. It just depends on who you are, and for me, it definitely does, along with a couple other things. And then I talked to this lady at my church, and she is kind of like a healthy eating coach, so she's not like a nutritionist. As much as I've heard about nutritionists, I haven't really looked into it, but all that I've heard is they're very much like, you need this many carbs, this many like sugars from your plants, only 2 pieces of fruit a day, that kind of stuff. And that's not what she is at all. She's just a healthy eating coach, and she isn't anything, but she does eat predominantly vegan, and she said that she'll go for like weeks without meat and stuff like that. She has celiac disease, so she can't eat gluten, but she is so educated, and I was sitting down and talking to her, and she was telling me about all these things about how our bodies are essentially alkaline. Meat and all of that stuff, dairy and eggs, they are all acidic. So she gave me a really good example. When you work out, you release lactic acid, and your body is already acidic, so it's releasing that acid. And then say you go and you eat a hearty breakfast that's full of protein, and you eat eggs and bacon and all of these things that are in themselves acidic, and then you're putting that into your body that's already acidic, you're just putting so much acid into your body that it's really not good for it. And that's also one thing that can attribute to your acne. We just talked a lot about a bunch of different things. It was really, really, really good for me, and it got me pretty motivated that night, but then I kind of lost motivation, but then I kind of went back. And it was just really good to talk to somebody who's super duper educated on all of this stuff and actually knew what she was talking about. So a couple of the things, aside from the acid part of what I learned, although you do get certain vitamins and proteins from meat, you can also get a lot of those vitamins and proteins from vegetables and fruits and beans and just plant-based things. She also gave me an example of spinach. If you have a slab of steak that's 20% protein, you have spinach that's 20% protein, which would you rather be putting in your body? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Yeah. Another thing that I learned about is the protein myth, and you can Google this to your heart's content. It's all over the internet. The protein myth is how dietary, like, what is that called? Needs that are put on by dietitians, and I can't even think of the word. The association that's telling us how much of whatever we need. Basically, they've doubled the protein intake that we need to survive and to thrive. And obviously, you should be careful because you have to really know how to do stuff like this. And you have to really be educated on it, which is, I love researching my food and researching stuff and how my food affects me. And I don't know everything. Obviously, I only know like this much. And I know that a lot of people say that veganism is lacking in a ton of nutrients, but if I compare how I eat now to how I used to eat a long time ago, I would eat like, I don't know, a sandwich or like a frozen pizza, stuff like that. All of those things are really lacking in nutrients, so if you compare what vitamins I was missing then to what the ones that I'm missing now, it's kind of interesting. So that brings me to this point. I actually started being vegan on June 12th, and I know that that's not that long ago. It's not like a year or a couple months ago. It's really just a few weeks ago, but oh my gosh, I cannot stress to you how good I feel. It wasn't that hard for me to switch over to being vegan because I was already eating predominantly vegan. I was avoiding all of this stuff, and I wasn't eating very much meat and dairy, so it wasn't a big transition for me personally. It really wasn't that hard. People are constantly like, oh, I could never be vegan, like it's too hard, I love meat too much, and I can't do it. And it's like, I think that people think that it's harder than it is. I won't lie, there's been times where I really wished I could just eat whatever I wanted to, and although I could eat whatever I wanted to, it's kind of my own pride thing. I just don't want to eat meat and animal products, just because it's not a moral issue per se, because to me, that sounds horrible. All of the moral issue stuff is kind of just a bonus. I learned that in the egg industry, they kill baby chicks that are males because they can't produce eggs. So that is one thing that has kind of like turned me away from that. But there is so much cruelty in the food and animal industry, and with all of the environmental issues with all of that, that's all something else to be looked into, and I'm not trying to shove that down your throat. I just want to clarify that all of that moral stuff and the environmental stuff is a huge bonus, but at the core, I started being vegan for my own health. Go back on people saying that they can't do it. I really hate when people say I can't do this or I can't do that. Not things that they physically can't do, but things that they don't want to do. It's not saying that you have to do those things, because you really don't. You should be able to make those decisions yourself. That's totally fine. But don't say that you can't do them because you truthfully can. You just don't want to. And I'm totally guilty of that, and I need to watch myself saying I can't eat this and I can't eat that. I can, I just don't want to, and I choose not to. Now about how I feel and what I eat and how basically veganism has affected me. As I stated before, it is not for moral reasons, so I do not have vegan face wash and body wash and shampoo and clothes. I don't take it to that next level. I know to some vegans that may be really bad. I'm not sure. I just eat vegan because that's what I want to do. I don't go super hardcore. I do research my food before I eat it always. I always read the ingredients, but if I miss something, like I know in hummus there's this protein, or I don't know what it is. It's like something for freshness, and it comes from the bacteria that is in milk. So it's not dairy, but it comes from the bacteria that can be found in dairy. And apparently to some people that's fine, like it is vegan, to some people it's not. That stuff isn't necessarily what gets to me, because that said it's not from dairy, like it's not from milk, it's just the bacteria. And so I don't worry too much about when it gets that into detail. I try to be really conscious on what I eat and to make sure that it doesn't include any of that, mainly because of my pride, because I want to keep up with it and it's something that's fun for me. Now, what I eat day to day is a lot of fruit. I don't eat that many vegetables. I really should be eating more. I try to incorporate them when I can. I have this amazing pancake recipe that I got from an Instagram called Thriving on Plants. I'm going to make a video about it. I'm also going to make a video on what I eat in a day, so make sure to keep your eyes out for those things. I basically thrive off recreating things. You can recreate anything. I'm not joking you. You can recreate anything to make it vegan. And obviously it's not always going to taste the exact same, because you can't make tofu taste exactly like chicken. But really, when it comes down to it, you can pretty much recreate a lot of things to make them really delicious and healthy, and that's what I love to do. I love pizza. I love it. This place by my house has amazing vegan pizza. It's a really vegan friendly restaurant. I am really blessed to have a ton of vegan restaurants that are really vegan friendly all around me, so if I really need to go out to eat, I can. Pretty much anywhere you go, you can find at least one thing vegan. Most places, even like fast food places, a lot of fast food places do fry their fries in like animal traced oil, but some don't, so it's really awesome in that aspect. But I really do try to eat at home. I try to avoid processed things because I don't feel good about it. Also, I am high carb, low fat, so what that means is I get all of my carbs, or the majority of them, not all of them because I'm not perfect, from plant-based foods. So that means, like, even if it's pasta, it'll be brown rice pasta, or it'll be like all of my carbs will come from vegetables and fruits and plant-based foods. And then I really try to avoid fat. I know that you can't live a healthy lifestyle without having any fat in your diet. It's just not healthy. Like, your body needs fat to function. So I try to keep it low fat, because I know when I eat high fat foods, my face breaks out and I don't feel good about myself. And that, at the core, is what I'm trying to do, is to feel good. Before I went vegan, I had such an issue with bloating, and even before I was eating healthy, when I was eating healthier, it wasn't as bad as before, but I was still bloating, especially when I would eat meat and like really dense stuff like that. The fact that like my stomach was bloating that much was an issue for me, like it didn't feel good. But now I can eat pretty much everything that's like plant-based and I never get bloated anymore. It's honestly such an awesome feeling. Like, I never get bloated anymore unless I eat really high oily stuff or stuff like that, but I don't usually eat like that, so it's really awesome. I don't get bloated and I eat a ton. I believe that you should not constrict yourself. I believe that you should eat when you're hungry. If you're hungry, eat something healthy though. Don't go for the chips or this and that. For me, this is my own personal kind of like idea and thought process. Like, eat something healthy, eat a piece of fruit. I don't count calories at all because that is just too much for me, and I don't like restricting myself in that way, and I've not seen a difference when I'm not counting calories. So I don't count calories or anything. The only thing that I really pay attention to is my processed sugar, which I don't eat often, and if I do, that's kind of like a treat, and then my fat. I'll count that, but I try to make sure that my fat comes from like healthy places like nuts and stuff like that. That's really great, and obviously you can't always do stuff like that, but I'm just aware. There's so many amazing desserts. I have vegan ice cream in my freezer right now that tastes exactly like normal ice cream, except it's just a little bit softer, and it has a little taste of coconut because it's from coconut milk, but they make a ton of vegan substitute items. It's really awesome, and although it can be expensive for the substitutions, it's not that bad because it's usually just treats. And then another thing that I want to touch on is a lot of people think that it's super duper expensive to eat healthy, and although I will agree with that, it is more expensive to buy your whole foods than to buy a frozen pizza. But on the flip side, if you compare a pound of chicken to a pound of vegetables, it is a lot cheaper to go for your produce rather than your meat. Again, I'm not telling anybody to be vegan or be vegetarian. It's just when you compare the prices, because I know that that's a big issue with people, is the expensiveness. I know that it seems like it's hard, but it can be a lot cheaper, and it's really good for the environment. But again, I'm not telling anybody that they need to be vegan or that they should be. In fact, I think that you need to be really educated on what you're doing and do it correctly, because vegan does not mean healthy. Oreos are vegan. There's so many unhealthy foods that you can cram into your body and still be vegan. No, I just saw lightning outside. And it doesn't necessarily mean you're healthy, so you kind of have to know what you're doing about it. I just wanted to make this video because I have never felt healthier in my life. I have more confidence because I feel healthier and I feel like I look healthier. I don't want to put emphasis on your looks because it truly is about what you're fueling your body with and the energy that you're getting out of it. Just wanted to make this video to show you guys what I do and maybe inspire you. You look into it, research things for yourself before you make comments on it, and I'm sure that I've said something wrong in this video, so I really do apologize. Most of the things that I've talked about, I've tried to look into and research myself before I make comments on it. That's a really big thing for me. I'm sorry if this was really long, but I hope that you have a wonderful day, and I love you, and I'll see you later.